Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today I titled this message, Fantasy Relationships. Fantasy Relationships. When you look at media, film, read books, and even tell little fairy tales to your children, you will find that there are those relationships, whether they're friendships, intimate relationships, whatever the connection might be, you will find that in some of these too good to be true kind of stories, there is the fantasy. The fantasy of being with someone, whether intimately or just a platonic friendship, but someone who is like you. Someone who meets your preferences. Someone who's easy to get along with. Someone who you are very much compatible with. There is this innate need in all of us to be with that one. We will look at other people's connections, partnerships, relationships, friendships, and we'll say, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. But do you have the personality to have what those people have? Are you able to put in the time, energy, money, and work, as well as effort, in your own personal connections? Most people, they don't have the tenacity, the perseverance to do all of what those people over there that we admire do. Some people are short on patience, short on time, and they have a short list of what they will tolerate. And then you have others who, they have a long list of what they will tolerate, and they are not short on time, on patience, on much of anything. They're long-suffering in their relationships. They will love until the day that the person takes their last breath. Fantasy relationships are just that. They are whatever we conjure up in our minds. If you believe that so-and-so is your ideal woman or ideal man, then you are telling on yourself. You are that one that has an illusion, if you will, inside your mind of what people should be to you. Not you to them, but what they should be to you. Some of you all right away say she's talking about the narcissist. I'm talking about not just the narcissist, but anybody who's selfish, anyone who is silly enough to believe that someone is going to be anything and everything to them. I mean, if we have a mind, a body, a spirit, we know that we're not going to be all things to someone. And that after a while, even if you attempt to do that, you're going to get tired. Some of you women, you know what I'm talking about. You got tired in that little relationship that you thought was a relationship when in all actuality, it was his fantasy. I remember a Christian woman coming up to me and telling me that her ex-husband wanted her to be his fantasy. And so she literally went out and bought all of these different outfits to be these characters that he conjured up in his head just to make the relationship go the distance. And it did go the distance, but eventually fell apart because you get tired of playing, right? Even children get tired of playing together. I want to go somewhere else. I want to play with my own toy. I don't want to share, you see. I want to have my own time to discover something new, something refreshing, something fun, right? But if you were to take a child and force them to play with someone that they really don't want to play with, you're going to get tantrums. You're going to get the child wanting to crawl out the cage. You're going to get the child wanting to beat the other child up at some point. I'm tired of this. And this is what's happening in these fantasy relationships. You didn't turn out to be my fantasy. You didn't meet my needs. So I'm going to look for someone else. I know, the baby sounding little immature voice that shows up every now and again in an argument with someone. You're not playing with me, and that's not fair. How come you're not playing with me? Well, some folks get tired once again of playing that character that someone else conjured up for them. You have entertainers who get tired of playing those characters in front of us that we bought into, that we were persuaded into believing that entertainer really was, that we coughed up money to continue to see that puppet, that China doll, and whatever other character they come up with. And then they get tired. And some of you all got tired. You got so sick and tired of having to play that character that you said no more. And that is why some of you all have already filed the divorce papers. Some of you others have yet to file the divorce papers. And then there are those individuals who have yet to make the phone call to cut certain people out of their lives. Because you don't want the Bonnie and Clyde relationship any longer. You don't want to be that damsel in distress who he saves once again. You don't want to be the cheerleader. You don't want to be the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker any longer. I feel you. I understand. Been there, done it, seen the movie, and I am seeing some other things play out as I'm aging, and I don't like it. So we go to the Lord and we say, Lord, this isn't what I asked for. This isn't what I wanted. This is not the character that I want to be in this friendship, in this partnership, in this business arrangement. This isn't the person that I want to be in the bedroom. This isn't the person that I want to be sitting there just talking to an old friend. I, Lord Jesus, want to be whoever you have called me to be. I want to be in touch with the real me. You see, too many influences over the years will make anyone end up eventually losing a sense of self, who and what he or she really is. Too many people telling you what you ought to do, what you should do, who you should connect with, why you shouldn't hold this and why you shouldn't hold that grievance, and on and on and on. And all these people telling you so many different things, and then you lose sight of who you really are. I challenge you to get back to the one true God and ask him. Ask him to meet the desires of your heart, to show you who you are, to examine your heart. And he will do just that. It's a dangerous prayer though, if you're not ready, because if you are the narcissist, you definitely don't want to see your flaws, because you will see your flaws in getting to know who you are for real this time. And you will see some things play out that you really didn't want to play out, including cutting off some people that you wasn't quite ready to cut off. I'm a witness to that too. You see, there are those fantasy relationships. It looks pretty on the outside, doesn't it? Oh, those people look so handsome and beautiful. And the children, oh, they're so well behaved in their house and their car. And I wish I had. And the Lord said, stop coveting. That is something in the Bible. You are not to want what your man, what your sister, what your brother, what your wife wants or has. I want that because she got it. I want that because it's so sweet and so nice and it just looks so good. And then you get it and you don't look good in it. You get it and that's not the kind of relationship that you thought you could manage. But she made it look so easy. Yes, that's her personality. The two of them fit together like hand in glove because they're compromising, because they're making major sacrifices to fit hand in glove. They're doing things that you know you are not willing to do. You are not going to go in there, some of you women, and make that man a sandwich. So why you want that? You are not willing to clean up after yourself, much less everybody else. So why are you acting as if you're going to do that when you know it's not even in you to do it? It's the right thing to do, but it's not in you to do it. It takes some time. Some of these women who have these quality relationships as well as men, it took some time for them to get there. Two individuals told me, as well as others in a member in the congregation, they said that the reason why they were able to finally get to a place to even like each other and love each other too, but one while hating each other, was they got to that through distance separation. Yeah, some people, they're not willing to disconnect to see if their relationship could be able to survive. They said they had even started new relationships with other people and realized that's not what they wanted. Are some of you willing to do all of that to get to peace? Some of you all, I don't want my man going nowhere. I don't want my friend hanging out with other friends. Yeah. Okay. So the relationship continues to suffer. Sometimes people do some interesting, creative ways in order to see the reality of their connection. The reality, not the fantasy. Let's see the reality. Let's go not to the restaurant for the date, but let's go to some place that's taxing on one's mind and emotions, and let's see the real person show up in that setting where there's a bunch of people and service is slow. This way, if I can see that person for who he or she really is, then I can make a very wise, very good decision on whether or not I want to be with that person in the future. You see, the fantasy world of dating, and I've mentioned this in other audio dealing with relationships, the fantasy of dating is that everybody's on their best behavior. Everybody looks good. We're going to places that make us feel good. That's the fantasy. The reality is the relationship when we're going places that aren't so fun, aren't so nice, and you get to see the real me. I don't like this atmosphere. I can't stand being around these people. And if I'm starting to lose it a little bit, sorry, but this isn't my cup of tea. Can you be able to put up with me and my little attitude? You see? But some people can't do that. And so it's better that you find out early on than you find out after papers have been signed, after babies have been born. And some of you learn the hard way. I could put my hand up. You've got to be able to give people the type of time that you're able to see them for who they really are. You're going to have to see people for who they really are. When they show themselves to be something that's unpleasant, not nice, I can't stand, oh, I didn't know that about her. That's part of who they are. That's truth. Now you can either ride with it or you can say, can't deal with it and move on. No keeping people in the fantasy world. No wishing upon a star. There never was that fantasy world to begin with, at least with the individual that you were hoping he or she was going to turn out to be. It was just reality, the reality that you chose to ignore. There were the flaws early on. There were the things that we didn't like about different people in friendship, business, as well as relationship early on. But we wanted to believe whatever we envisioned them to be. And then God, he shows us the truth. Okay. And you should praise him right now for seeing the truth in your partner. And also, if you're willing to just ride or die with them, then be grateful for that as well. Okay, because relationships are hard. Quality relationships are hard to come by. So if you feel you have a quality relationship, then you take the good, the bad. As my grandmother said, take the bitter with the sweet. Well, blessings to you. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube, NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. We do welcome donations and just support for the books that are in the description box, and you can do that. Thank you as always, and to God be the glory.